Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janava Lava Giri Varadhari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janava Lava Giri Varadhari. Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janava Lava Giri Varadhari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janava Lava Giri Varadhari. Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janava Lava Giri Varadhari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janava Lava Giri Varadhari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Kalachandi Radha Kalachandi Radhe. Jaya Radha Kalachandji Radha Kalachandji Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Radha Madhava Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. Actually, Dustin, do you think you could hand me the laptop? Thank you, Ajit Prabhu. Thank you. So we will begin today with our auspicious invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together, Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Naranayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nashta prayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, whose praise with transcendental songs is established as an irrevocable fact. Okay. All good. We'll just do a quick Mangalacharna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangsha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Harijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitangsha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tirubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyacha Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we are reading today from the Srimad Bhagavatam, and it's Canto 6, and we're beginning a new chapter, and we're covering the whole chapter today. So Jai. Who remembers what we spoke about last time? Very wonderful class, my mother Tulsi Saki. Oh yeah, sorry. I looked at you as I said that, and I was like, anyways, my mother Vinda Sevika. Who remembers what it was about? Okay. hmm Yeah. So for the past few classes, we've been hearing about Prajapati Daksha. Who remembers what Prajapati Daksha's job is? Dustin. Remember what his job is? Yeah, to fill up the whole universe with different species. So first he tried that with 10,000 sons, and then Narada Muni liberated all of them, and then he tried that with 1,000 sons, and Narada Muni did the same thing, and so he got so frustrated and upset, he almost fainted, and he proceeded to curse Narada Muni, "May you never have any residence." And so what may seem like a curse for Narada Muni is for Daksha is a blessing for Narada Muni. And so now Daksha, he learned, and so he's now going to have daughters instead, so that Narada Muni will leave them alone. So can someone read the chapter summary?
Okay. The progeny of the daughters of Daksha. As described in this chapter, Prajapati Daksha begot 60 daughters in the womb of his wife, Asikni. These daughters were given in charity to various persons to increase the population. Since these offspring of Daksha were women, Narada Muni did not try to lead them towards the renounced order of life. Thus the daughters were saved from Narada Muni. 10 of the daughters were given in marriage to Dharmaraj, 13 to Kashyapa Muni, and 27 to the moon god Chandra. In this way, 50 daughters were distributed, and of the other 10 daughters, 4 were given to Kashyapa, and 2 each to Bhuta, Ingira, and Krishashva. One should know that it is because of the union of these 60 daughters with various exalted personalities that the entire universe was filled with various kinds of living entities, such as human beings, demigods, demons, beasts, birds, and serpents.
Okay, yeah, so this is a very interesting chapter in that I believe Srila Prabhupada only has 1 or 2 purports in the whole chapter, and it's 45 texts. So in each of these, it's describing how a certain wife is given to a certain demigod, and then their children are like the rivers or the mountains, and I even saw one of the daughters gave birth to the clouds. So it's a very interesting section. Yeah, one gave birth to cities. That's talk about inconceivable. But this is we see a few you could call them like lineage sections in the Bhagavatam, and so this is one of them. I think if we have time, we can read through these. But yeah, in summary, we hear about how each of these daughters were given to these different sages, and they filled up all the 3 worlds. And then towards the end, we start hearing about, let's see. Now please hear me as I describe the descendants of Aditi in chronological order. In this dynasty, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan descended by his plenary expansion. The names of the sons of Aditi are as follows: Vivasvan, Aryama, Pusha, Tvashta, Savita, Bhaga, Datta, Vidata, Varuna, Mitra, Satra, and Ukrima. Let's see. Let's see. And then we get to the last few texts where Rachana, the daughter of the Daityas. Who are the Daityas? Huh? Yeah, I believe the Daityas are the demons. And so they gave birth to Vishvarupa. He's going to be a very important character in the next chapter, but essentially he is a Brahmana sage who has 3 heads. Let's see, maybe I can even pull up a picture of Vishvarupa. Here we are. So this is kind of how this ties into the rest of the story, is we're going to learn about this character called Vishvarupa. And he becomes the priest of the demigods, and that opens into this whole drama with Indra and Vritrasura and Brahaspati. And yeah, although Vishvarupa was the son of the daughter of their eternal enemies, the demons, the demigods accepted him as their priest in accordance with the order of Brahma, when they were abandoned by their spiritual master Brahaspati, whom they had disrespected. So that's what we'll cover tomorrow. And today we'll go to our focus verse, text 1. So this is 6:6:1. Shri Shukavacha Tata Prachetaso Siknyam Anunita Swayambhuva Shashtim Sanjnayam Asa Duhitrir Pitrivatsala. Please recite. Shri Shukavacha Tata Prachetaso Sikyam Anunita Swayambhuva Shashtim Sanjanayam Asha Duhiti Pitrivatsala. Shri Shukavacha Tata Prachetaso Snikyam Anunita Swayambhuva Shashtim Sanjanayam Asa Duhitra Pitrivatsala. Shri Shukavacha Apajetaso Sikyam Anunita Swayambhuva Duhitra Pitrivatsala. Shri Shukavacha Tata Prachetaso Sikyam Anudita Swayambhuva Yashrim Sanjanyam Yasya Duhitri Pitrivatsala. Synonyms. Shri Shuka Uvacha, Shri Shukadev Goswami said, Tata, after that incident, Prachetasa, Daksha, Asikyam and his wife, named Akshini, pacified, Swayambhuva, by Lord Brahma, Shashtim, 60, Sanjayam Asa, begot, Duhritri, daughters, Trivatsala, all very affectionate to their father. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri Shukadev Goswami said, My dear king, thereafter, at the request of Lord Brahma, Prajapati Daksha, who is known as Prachetasa, begot 60 daughters in the womb of his wife Asikni. All the daughters were very affectionate towards their father. Purport. After the incidents concerning the loss of his many sons, Daksha repented his misunderstanding with Narada Muni. Lord Brahma then saw Daksha and instructed him to beget children again. This time Daksha was very cautious to beget female children instead of male children, so that Narada Muni would not disturb them by urging them to accept the renounced order. Females are not meant for the renounced order of life. They should be faithful to their good husbands. For if a husband is competent for liberation, his wife will also achieve liberation with him. As stated in the Shastra, the results of a husband's pious activities are shared by his wife. Therefore, a woman's duty is to be very chaste and faithful to her husband. Then, without separate endeavor, she will share in all the profit the husband earns. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, I'm quite unqualified to speak on this topic of a woman's duty in life, and let's see, chastity to their husband. I was thinking perhaps we could open up for some discussion, then we can focus more on kind of a similar point. But why do we think it is that women are not meant for the renounced order of life? Does anyone have any ideas on that?
I've heard that one reason is because it's very dangerous, for example, for a woman to be alone in the woods with like in the forest, like unprotected.
Yeah, so that's the primary reason, is that it's described that women should always be protected, whether it's by their father, their husband, or then later their sons. And part of the order of sannyas requires that one is ready to travel alone and be alone, and at least externally fully rely on Krishna for their protection. Any other reasons or thoughts on the nature of... Yeah.
The women are born, the body, the mind, the ego of the woman is a nurturer. They nurture. So to do that, they're a little on the emotional side. So they tend to they can get carried by emotions. So that's another reason. Also, the beginning of your talk, I was thinking about how the disciple is chased to the spiritual master. That's one other.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this reminds me of a verse in which it's described how attachment towards things of the material world, the verse says, everyone knows that attachment to family life is like a den of snakes and is like what keeps us in this material world. But when that same attachment is to Guru or to Krishna, that attachment opens the doors of liberation. So like you're saying, women have a natural biological tendency to be caring, to be affectionate and attached. And so in this way, Srila Prabhupada's recommending that they take this attachment and apply it to a good husband, a strong husband, a husband suitable for liberation. So, this is part of dovetailing one's nature, is that they use this attachment or this affection towards their husband who's competent for liberation. They will also share similar results. Any other comments on this point before we continue? Maybe any realizations, Mother Tulsi Saki, or you continue?
I mean, most of them want children. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you're renounced, you can't have children.
Yeah.
That was one thing.
Yeah, and a husband's pious activities are shared by his wife. So, yeah, Krishna helps out. So I wanted to talk about kind of what is Srila Prabhupada, he would talk sometimes about internal sannyas. So we see that external sannyas isn't very possible for most people. We even see in our society of ISKCON that we have so many devotees who are, perhaps over the age of 50, yet they are still in Grihastha ashram. And, sometimes we may read statements from Srila Prabhupada saying, everyone must take sannyas. Everyone who is in the end of his life should take sannyas. Yet we see that many of our senior devotees, they're still performing their services, but in the grahastha or vanaprastha ashrams. I wonder if anyone has a thought on why that is, or Mother Kunti.
I don't know if it's if I'm exactly answering your question, but what I've observed as the couples, and at least in our community that are older, they've taken vanapras, but at the house. They're vanapras, but they stay home. So, for example, Leela, Materna's wife, is about to go to India with Nandapriya. In fact, they may have already left to go to India. So, this is a good example of vanaprastha. So it's actually happening right here in our community with the older couples, that they are renounced, but they stay together for the service. And that's what I've got.
Yeah, that's basically the main point, is that if we look at Srila Prabhupada talking about sannyas, he says that sannyas means to do everything for the service of Krishna. So, in a sense, we're all aspiring to be sannyasis, whether we are in a male or female body, or whether that is our nature. But we're supposed to do everything for Krishna. And then another part of sannyas, or the renounced order, is to detach from materialistic life, which is something that all of us are trying to do with these 4 regulative principles: no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, and no gambling. And the sannyasi, they take this to the next level when they commit social suicide. They no longer have a family or a place that they're from. That's their only identification, is that they're a servant of Krishna. So internally we can have this mood, or internally we can do everything to serve Krishna. And part of serving Krishna is that, I've heard this analogy once from Sachinanda Maharaj, that let's say you have a room, and it's you want to invite your guests to sit in the room, but there's so many things in that room. There's like the couch, but on top of the couch you have like a table and an ironing board and all the dishes, and there's nowhere to sit. The room is so stuffed, the room is so crammed. So similarly, that can be our heart. If right now, or for some of us, we have so many things in our heart, so many desires, so many aspirations and things we want to do in the material sphere. And in order for Krishna to come and sit in our heart, we have to make some space for him. We have to clear out a place for him to sit. And often we hear that Krishna is our only friend. Krishna is our only husband. That's what Lakshmi Devi prays in that chapter description of Jambudweep. So does that mean that no one should ever have a husband? No one should ever get married? No. But internally we remember that at the end of the day, Krishna is our only friend. Krishna is our only attachment. Krishna is our only shelter in this world. And Krishna is our only husband. I'm wondering, does anyone know how we can cultivate that? How do we cultivate Krishna Eka Sharanam? Eka means one, Sharanam is our shelter. How do we cultivate this idea that Krishna is our only shelter, Krishna is our only friend, Krishna is our only protector, even in these other activities of life? Nrsimha Prabhu?
I was just thinking, because anything we have, any ability we have, any qualification we have, it's all coming from Krishna ultimately. So even if somebody is the instrument of that shelter in our lives, it's ultimately coming from Krishna. So it's, in that sense, we may take shelter from our spiritual masters and different devotees or people in our life, but they can only give us shelter because of their connection with Krishna.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we recognize the source. Ajit Prabhu? Oh. Yeah.
Oh yeah, by constantly every day taking shelter of his words in the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, like really having the scriptures be like your guides, like your life and soul, because he is the scriptures.
Yeah, so that was kind of one of the points I was thinking, is that there's a few things in our life which will be a constant. So we've all experienced in our life that we, for example, we have some middle school friends. And so we have those friends in middle school, and then we go to a high school and somehow circumstances change. It's described how we're like seaweed all coming together in the ocean, and then we will separate eventually. And even this is true throughout lifetimes. We come together for some lifetimes or some period of time, and then when we leave this body, we will at least physically separate. But some things never separate from us, like our spiritual master, and also the holy names. That is the one thing which we are always going to do every day of our life. And so it's like a relationship that we're investing in. And it's like a relationship that it's our only relationship that we will have at every place we go, every city we stay, every interaction, every stage of life. That's the one person who's come with us is Krishna's names, Krishna's words in the Bhagavad Gita. And so that's how gradually we get an understanding of Krishna's presence in our life, is just by going through life and still maintaining our vows and still every day building our relationship with Krishna. The end result is that we will understand Krishna's presence and how Krishna has been there the whole time. I was thinking on another point. Just kind of continuing on that point, we see in life that everything will eventually, we can't really expect anything in this world to go the way we think. We might think, oh, I'm going to live here, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, or I'm going to be in this service forever, or I'm going to be in this position. But everything changes. And often everything in the material world can disappoint us. Everything in the material world almost will disappoint us. And we will have to experience separation from friends, family, loved ones. And just that experience of the material world and things disappointing us, it clears out our heart and it purifies us. Burijan Prabhu has this prayer. He was walking in the streets of around Govardhan, and he saw a sugarcane crusher. Have you guys ever seen the sugarcane crusher? It's two big rods, and the sugarcane goes inside and squeezes out the juice, and then at the end you have your sugarcane juice, which I wouldn't recommend drinking for first timers, or I don't know. That's what I've been told. I never got brave enough to try it. But Burijan Prabhu says, may the hard grinding gears of life squeeze out a little bit of humility from me. So that's what life will do, is life will teach us that we can't rely on anything at the end of the day. Srimad Bhagavatam talks about the fallible soldiers, that one expects to protect his kingdom with all these soldiers. Oh, my wealth, my house, my family, my friends. But at the end of the day, there's only one person who can help us at the time of death, and it's Krishna. Krishna and Krishna's devotees. So that's another thing that Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing here, is while we will gain this detachment from the material world just by existing in the material world in Krishna consciousness, that a good husband or a good devotee is actually someone who can help us. While it is true that Krishna is our only friend, the devotees are also our friends. even if it's just for certain periods of time. So the husband who is competent for liberation, basically a devotee, an advanced devotee, is able to help us also achieve liberation. And this is true for the husband and wife relationship. So those were the thoughts I had on this section, and I'd like if we can go more into this topic of how we can internally rely on Krishna and internally be in the renounced order, even if externally we still maintain our duties. Ajit Prabhu, did you scratch again? Oh, Dustin Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So I do realize that the Srimad Bhagavatam here does say that sannyas is not appropriate for women, but not within Vaishnava sampradayas, but I have noticed in other sampradayas that some women do take sannyas. So I'm a little bit confused about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mother Kunti, please.
So, yeah, there was a movement within our movement, probably 20 years ago, 25 years ago, sannyasinis. And so there was a lot of girls that started putting on saffron, and they just became very renounced. And it didn't last long. It was less than a year. But the whole thing is that they were told it's better to do this internally, not externally. And so, yeah, then they decided, okay, let's just do this internally. And so you can see, like in the person of there's so many out there, but Mother Urmila is a good example.
Mm-hmm.
She's very renounced. I mean, to me, she's Mother Malati. They're totally sannyas mentality. And
Mother Chandravali.
Mother Chandravali, that's right. Right here in our community. And our Prabhupada Priya, she has the same mood. And so really it's an internal thing, not an external thing. Carrying the danda of the body, mind, and spirit is something you can do mentally. So everything you do, whether it's sweeping the floor, greeting guests, honoring prasadam, giving prasadam, whatever activity you're doing, you can depend on Guru and Krishna. You can pray, please empower me to do a good job. Please move me like I'm your puppet. And if you cultivate that, I mean, I may not personally have that renounced mood. I know for myself, I'm a big sense gratifier. That's all I think about is sense grat. But I know that little by little, it's kind of like the what was it? The bird. It was a magpie. Saw the water in the bottom of a cup, and so he kept putting stones in the cup, and gradually the water rose to the top. So you keep adding Krishna, 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 and it rises to the top, and then Krishna takes over, and the whole thing is to be willing. It's not a marriage if one of the partners is not willing. So it's kind of like you get married every day. You just say, oh, okay, am I going to accept Krishna as my husband today? Or am I going to be Miss Independent and have a miserable day? Most definitely accept Krishna. Krishna's a lot more fun. Anyway, that's my thoughts.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you, Mother Kunti. Very instructive. Kaylee, is this on Dustin's point or additional? No. Or okay, I'll just quickly share that. As Dustin was bringing up, sometimes we hear Srila Prabhupada will make commentary on kind of social aspects of society. And so sometimes people feel that he might paint with too broad a brush. And so and if we look at previous yugas or previous times, things were a lot less confusing. as they are now. But our scripture, it does generalize, but there may be exceptions from time to time. There may be certain individuals who are very different from the general norm. So, yeah. Kaylee? Prue?
Hey Krishna. Yeah, one comment I had was just that like we shouldn't really go against our nature, and the woman's nature is naturally a little bit more like caring and nurturing. So it's kind of going against the woman's nature to just kind of like externally renounce things. But again, like women show we have different levels of nurturing and caring. But that was something I was thinking is it's just kind of going against the nature of a woman. She's not really like that. Then I had question for those who are not sannyasinis. Like
No sannyasinis answer, if there are any in here.
Also, I guess, I mean, anyone can answer, but I'm curious about like a husband who is competent for liberation. I have two questions on this. Like, why is it focusing on a husband who's competent for liberation? I don't feel like like devotional service is in there or that important. And then also, can you talk about the qualities of a husband who is competent for liberation? Like, how can we tell? How can we see someone who can guide us properly so misled?
Anyone would like to share? First question was about liberation. She said, seems to not emphasize devotional service. Yeah. None of it true? Oh, okay.
Right. Husband should be competent for liberation. Only devotional service or just eligible for liberation. That's like you just answered that question. That's right. Yeah, because the symptom of one who's liberated is constant engagement in devotional service. And it's true also that the reverse is there. If the husband becomes fallen, it becomes very hard on the wife. And vice versa. If the wife has fallen, it becomes hard on the husband. So, either way, it's kind of like when you have two oxen yoked together, they both have to pull equal strength. If one oxen is pulling and the other one's not pulling, then it becomes very difficult for the one. And then your other question? Submissive role, yeah. Guiding, right. So the woman takes a submissive role. Right. Well, I mean, isn't it that the husband and wife take shelter of the spiritual master? Mm-hmm. So that's really important. You can ask questions of the spiritual master. That if you have doubt, you put those before someone that you accept as a Shiksha guru, and they can guide. Yeah, because sometimes, especially when a marriage is brand new and you don't know the person, they don't know you, it's good if you have doubt to pose the doubt in front of an advanced devotee and take shelter. And then that way you both get elevated. Right? Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, but Tamal Krishna Maharaj was very keen that the wife should not follow a fallen husband. Mm-hmm. She should have her own sadhana and does not have to follow and take shelter of the spiritual master and advanced devotees. So
Jai.
he was very keen on that because sometimes he would get that.
Yeah. To Kaylee's question, that you can refer to the 26 qualities of a Vaishnava. So there's spiritual qualification, and then the material qualification is a little more up to you. It's like, what do you like? What height do you want, or like stuff like that. But for a good husband, the spiritual qualification would be those 26 qualities and steadiness in their service. Nanda Braj Prabhu?
We have the nectar of instruction, which is the instructions for the neophyte devotee. So you can really just go right through this nectar of instruction, verse by verse, and say, is this person working? Have control of their mind, have control of their anger,
Can you hold the mic?
control of their tongue.
Yeah.
Sorry. Do they have control of their senses, basically? And then are they following the 6 things that are positive for Krishna consciousness? And are they getting rid of the 6 things that are against Krishna consciousness? And so basically, in the first 6 verses of Nectar of Instruction, you can just be like, oh, is this what this person's working on? And you can be like, oh, yeah, they're working on these nicely and endeavoring to control their senses and yeah. So that would be one of my thoughts is we basically can just put up the nectar of instruction and be like, hey, what are they doing towards this?
Try. Any other points, perhaps on, Dosisaki?
Thank you for class, Prabhu, nice class, Prabhu, and I'm always I take time to answer, so you put me on the spot a few times, sorry, but it just takes me a little bit. Regarding, the basic general thoughts on this verse where, the husband takes sannyas and the wife normally stays back. One example comes to my mind where in our modern, times right now that wasn't followed necessarily in the same way is His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu and Mother Nirakula. And they are my personal heroes. And Mother Nirakula is my personal mentor, guide. And all of them, and all of us who take shelter of them, we can't be more grateful that they are together and they travel the whole world together, and they give all of us their mercy and shelter. They are such a wonderful example of both being sannyas, but together. So I think it's a very great example of you can be that without necessarily, having taken sannyas. And another instruction I received from Mother Urmila about, what to look for in a husband. She actually was just clearly saying at that time I already had both my kids, that don't expect everything, from, she literally used the word poor husband to deliver you, just, he's human. You have your gurus, as long as you can, support each other in your Krishna consciousness. That is, this was a room conversation, but, she literally...
Room conversation. 19s. And all my life, the instructions I have received in this matter is keep Krishna in the center and always help each other. And we should not judge our partners, our spouses. Okay, is this person following everything? Where is he at? Doesn't matter. As long as we are able to encourage each other and practice and inspire each other and, see the strengths in each other, and, I think. Jai. Thank you. Yeah, on that first point, it was a little bit like what we were talking about. We see many senior devotee couples, and they're putting service above everything else. I know one of my main teachers, he said, I could take sannyas, but the type of preaching I'm trying to do, myself having a wife and having a house, it just makes myself so much more relatable, and it makes me able to reach more people. And yeah, Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself set the example. He said, I woke up one day and my house was Goloka Vrindavan. So it's possible in our day-to-day life and in our own homes to see Goloka Vrindavan. All right, we have just one more minute. Anyone else have Ajit Prabhu?
Thank you for the nice discussion. The first sannyasis I ever met were women, actually, because I lived at a yoga ashram, and there was two sannyasi women that were there. They were kind of like gurus. They were not like diksha gurus, but they were like shiksha gurus, and I learned a lot from them, and I'm really grateful. But I did see times where the emotions would take over them. So, but that was one thought that I had. And other than that, I was also thinking of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Rupa Goswami. He says, we accept anything favorable to devotional service and we reject anything unfavorable. So that's like the main principle. Sometimes we can get caught up in the rules and okay, now I'm 50 years old, I need to go to the forest. But it's okay, you always have to think, okay, what's going to be most favorable and what's not going to be least favorable, and take instructions from the spiritual master. So that was just some thoughts.
Yeah, sannyas means preaching. So whatever is best for our preaching. I also thought it's important to not be in body consciousness or material consciousness, in that for example, oh Maharaj, Hare Krishna, and all this, but then perhaps Mother Urmila walks by and you're don't care. That's on the bodily concept still. We recognize devotion more than we recognize perhaps certain external things. And yeah, we're all devotees. Prabhupada said there are no big devotees, only small devotees. But we of course see our spiritual masters and there's all the seniors is very big compared to us. But yeah, Yeah. Well, on that note, we will conclude our Srimad Bhagavatam class. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Daksha's daughters ki jai.
पाभरौ भुवि भुव मानव अंतरकौ वंदे रूप सनातन रघुजुगौ श्रीजीव भगवानकौ। शास्त्र विचार सद्धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणं त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरणं करो। विचारणैकनिपुना सद्धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणां